Hello, George Romanic here. Today we are going to use this rotating table and the tank half filled with water to demonstrate the Coriolis effect. Because this is fluid, namely water, this is quite applicable to oceans and the atmosphere. This is regular tap water. This tank is approximately 41 centimeters wide and long, and the water is approximately 11 centimeters deep, so there is about 20 liters of water in this tank. That's 20 kilograms of water. That's not light at all. Like in my previous video, we have camera that will rotate together with this table, and we have another camera on the phone that is static. This is non-inertial reference frame. This will be inertial reference frame with the same perspective, well, similar perspective as this rotating camera. Once I start rotating table, this camera will project video over here. Okay, so now the rotating table is rotating. You can see motion here. That's thanks to the first Euler force, which we will not talk about in this video. And now, if you come closer to me and you show water over here, you will see that there is bulging of water in the corners. It's much nicer to see it here. Each corner has a bulge of water. Why is that happening? Well, that's centrifugal force. Centrifugal force is pushing the water out, and at one point there is equilibrium between the gravity and the centrifugal force, and there is this curved surface of the water. However, that is not the main goal of today's video. The main goal is to demonstrate the Coriolis force. The way we will do it is, I have three different food dyes, food inks: red, green, and yellow. And once I put this dye in the water, you will see how the Coriolis force takes over, and the motion of the dye is affected by the Coriolis force. Hopefully you will see beautiful vortices that will remind you of mid-latitude extratropical cyclones. So first, let's take a red dye and put a little bit in this water. Oop. Look at this beautiful trajectory on your screen. Look at this. Do you think you would get something like this in the absence of the Coriolis force? No way. Now, if you look with this camera on the side of the tank, you will see how the dye is propagating along the depth of the tank. But something very important, if I take another dye, there is no that much mixing between different dyes. This is green one. Look back now at this monitor and you will see that inks do not mix, or they mix minimally. This is not something we would get if the system was not rotating and we only had, and there was no Coriolis force. Let's put more dye. Let's put some perturb this whole thing. And you will see, even when I perturb water, still the mixing is minimal. Now I would like to discuss briefly why the mixing is minimal in the case of rotating reference frame and the Coriolis effect. As you can see, after 5 minutes of experiment, you can still see green and red being separated. There is some mixing thanks to molecular diffusion, but that's unavoidable. The reason the mixing between different colors is minimal is because these filaments have common axis of rotation, and that axis of rotation is, of course, the axis of rotation of this rotating table. They don't have some random axis of rotation which results in a profound mixing. One is rotating like that, another one in another direction, another one in third direction. No. All filaments have the same axis of rotation, and that minimizes their mixing. Let's put a little bit more dye and perturb this. See, look, even with perturbation, the mixing is not as pronounced as one might expect. Now, for the very last segment of this video, to convince you that mixing is much smaller when we have rotation compared when we don't have rotation, I will turn off this rotating table. If you come closer, look, as we are speaking, the dye already mixed. You can barely see green. You can barely see red. Look, look, there is no more different colors. In 10 seconds, everything mixed. Why did everything mixed? Well, because we removed preferred alignment for orientation, and now all these small particles of water have their own rotation, and therefore they mixed. If you come back one more time, you will convince yourself that the water is unicolored. There is no more different dye because there is no more rotation. Until next video, goodbye.